Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Week 7 of the Big Dogs Racing Tuesday night late model broadcast series, brought to you by Glacier TV, Bob's Motorsports, and tonight Jason Hogan Designs. To lead off with tonight's front row, let's bring it down to the drivers.
Stephen Moore, driver of the 02 Inside SimRacing.tv Chevrolet.
78 Naramore Machine Shop, Andy Lashinsky, Phoenix, Arizona.
Number 42, Chris Perry, Angola, New York, Team Naramore Machine Shop, Ford Fusion.
Robert Thompson from Burkmanette, Texas, driving the Fuzzy's Tacos 32 Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
Bobby Cannon, driver number 29, Netstream Communications, Brown Holman Design, Chevrolet Monte Carlo from Winder, Georgia.
Taylor Dorner, driver of the number 98 Chevrolet.
Wayne Willard, sponsored by Regular Dog, car number 01.
Number 62, Bob's Motorsports, BB&T Chevrolet, Brown Holman, Buford, Georgia.
Number 53, Gary Moore, driver of the Senior Tour Auto Racers Chevrolet.
Bob Robertson, to 47, USA Realty Chevy.
Number 60, Ron Miller, Down Valley Septic, Denver, Colorado.
Number 12, Josh Weaver, Durham, North Carolina.
Number 41, Robert Lee.
Number 92, Glenn Eschel, Lake Ronkonkoma, New York, Rick Haney calls car.
Number 8, Eddie Mahalsik in the Mahalsik Motorsports, Monte Carlo.
And rounding out our field tonight would be the number 68 of Troy Brown. We'd like to wish you all good luck in tonight's race, guys. Keep it clean. Let's have some fun. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and enjoying the show. And tuning in with me tonight would be, in the broadcast booth, would be Mark Figueroa and Steve Bryan. And our cameraman is Phil Diaz from Glacier TV. Mark, this looks like it's going to be one heck of a show tonight as these guys start off on their pace lap. The pole sitter, Stephen Moore, ran real strong last week. How do you think tonight's race is going to go for these guys?
Tonight's race should be a really door banger. This Martinsville Speedway gives no room for error. I mean, you have to be on your marks going in and out of these corners. So, as the lights on the pace car do look like they're off, they should be coming to the green either this, I do believe this time by, correct?
Yep, they should be taking the green right now. We should be seeing the pace car pull off as we kick off tonight's JasonHoganDesigns.com 125 from Martinsville Speedway in beautiful Martinsville, Virginia.
And Steve, how do you feel about tonight's race?
Well, Mark, I mean, it could be anybody's race. Looking at the top 5, even the top 7 drivers, they're all really good on short tracks. And being that this is only a half-mile track and the banking is only 11 degrees, it's a sort of flat track, so they should do really well.
As the pace car pulls off and the green flag comes out, and Steve Moore gets a good jump on Andy Lashinsky, followed by Robert Thompson and Bobby Cannon, Chris Perry. They all get a good jump off that start. It looks like the low line's going to really give them a run for tonight.
Yeah, the low line's going to be the preferred route around this track, but I've seen some guys during the practice session actually give them a good battle on the high side, and they really have to work it. As they go 3 wide, and Wayne Willard gets a little loose in the middle of 1 and 2, able to collect it back up, and they get going.
And the 53 has some difficulty.
Yeah,
let's take a look at what happened to Gary Moore in the 53 car. Steve, you want to take us through the replay?
Yeah, replay's coming up. It looks like Gary gets into the turn a little too hot, spins, probably got some air off of one of the other cars, turns around Ron Miller as well.
Yeah, these guys tonight, they have unlimited resets. The admins did give them that for Martinsville Speedway, so they should all be able to get these cars repaired. I did have a correction. While we were doing the driver introductions, it turns out they've got 7.8 laps of fuel or gallons of fuel to start this race. I'm assuming that's somewhere around 70 laps. So fuel strategy really shouldn't play too much into tonight. I think it's going to be who's can run the cleanest line the longest.
As long as these guys don't get spun out and get tossed to the rear of the field, hopefully we can get some green flag runs up in here and get it going for tonight.
Well, we're on this early caution. Why don't we give a big thank you to the guys over at Bob's Motorsports at www.bullseye.9f.com. They do a good job for us as the lights go off on the pace car next time by, I believe. Looks like the only cars that are going to pit were the guys that were caught up in that accident. Everybody else is going to go ahead and stay out, and you can't really blame them. They've only got, you know, a lap and a half on these tires, and these tires aren't going to give out. Ooh, Bobby Cannon pits out of the 4th position. That may be interesting. He may know something about these tires.
Yeah, whenever it's still early in the race, so he might be falling to the back of the pack and trying something out here. So give him a little bit of a test session here. So
looks like Brian Holman also took that car down pit road. He's got that beautiful new Bob's Motorsports paint job that he just rolled out of the paint shop this week. It'll be the first time we've ever seen him in that car. Beautiful.
It's a good-looking car, that's for sure. Yeah, I'd just like to give a thanks to Glacier TV for putting this out for us, and Phil Diaz, our producer, guy running all the cameras that you guys, all the nice camera shots you guys are seeing tonight. Phil Diaz, all of us here at Big Dogs like to tip our hats in appreciation for this.
And also JasonHoganDesigns.com, who is sponsoring tonight's race. They do custom wraps and decals, t-shirts, hats, design pretty much about anything, so go to JasonHoganDesigns.com.
As the pace car pulls off, we'll see if Stephen Moore gets such a good jump on this restart. You know, Andy Lashinsky's going to anticipate it a little bit, I think, now. Oh, Stephen Moore does get a good jump, and he clears him down the straightaway. So he's going to have that inside preferred line in the corner, and Lashinsky's going to drop down behind him as these guys are 2 by 2 by 2 behind him.
A little bit of beating and banging. Oh, Wayne Willard gets spun coming around turn 3 there.
Oh, Wayne Willard in the 0-1. He gets into the inside wall. It looks like
Bob Roberts.
Bob Roberts gets involved in that as well. They're still green. There's no caution. You got to wonder if the admins are going to throw a mercy caution for them, and they do. The admins have the ability in this iRacing game, you guys, to bring out the caution if the drivers need it and the game doesn't throw it. A lot of times the game won't unless you're right in the direct path of racing. So give a shout out to Gary Moore for being on top of his game there. It's hard to type and race at the same time as we take a look at the replay. Oh, it kind of just caught the end of that replay, but it's got the 60 of Ron Miller and the 62 of Brian Holman, Bob Roberts bottled up in there, 8 car of Ed Mahalsick.
And the 0-1 of Wayne Willard as well. And it looks like Ed has some pretty significant damage on the right front quarter panel.
Yeah, these guys should be fine with the unlimited resets that we've got here. So, yeah, they'll just have to fall to the rear of the field, and Stephen Moore's letting the pace car know that he's there. And I don't know if he's going to like that too much.
Not sure who's driving the pace car tonight, but they're probably giving him a little something to look at out of that rearview mirror, huh?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Well, the 4 cars in the wreck are coming off pit lane now.
Looks like only 6 cars stayed out, so there must be something to these tires tonight. Guys are going to be coming in and getting repairs, and I'm wondering if these tires don't have quite a bit of fall off, being this track doesn't have hardly any banking. And I did check the weather. It is 80 degrees out on the track, so it's not overly hot, but it's still gonna have an effect. As we watch the race off pit road between Bobby Cannon and Brian Holman. It looks like Brian Holman's going to beat him out a little bit, followed by Ron Miller in the 60 car.
Yeah, I do believe the lights are off. Nope, not yet. Lights ain't off the pace car just yet. So these guys are really going at it tonight. So we'll see what happens here on this next restart.
It looks like they're pretty much going to line up that front row the same way they had been, only if you look back, Chris Perry is going to pull up behind him in that purple monster number 42. That's a beautiful paint job he's brought out for tonight's race. And I look for him to have a good run tonight.
Yeah, but too bad that the good-looking paint job doesn't necessarily mean a good finishing position. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. So line up double file going down the backstretch here.
And the lights are off on the pace car. Pace car pulls in. These guys will be getting pretty antsy. They should tighten it up just a little bit. We should see a heck of a restart here. See if they can go more than a few laps without a caution. Well, it looks like there's a little bit of a checkup on that front row. They're trying a little different strategy, but Stephen Moore doesn't get quite the jump he did before. Andy Lashinsky's going to go into turn 1 on the high side.
And he falls in behind him. Everybody else is too wide from about 6th on back. But the leaders are making it look easy.
They're still too wide going in through the turn.
We've got a good race going on right now between the 92 of Glenn Nettesol and the 47 of Bob Roberts for the 6th position. There's Brian Holman sneaking up behind him. Looks like Brian Holman's going to clear Glenn. See if he can get up underneath Bob Roberts. I see Ron Miller's going to try to sneak in there as well in that 60 car.
Yeah, Glenn Nettesol, something must be up because he's taking those corners awfully wide. Either that or he's wanting to drop to the back of the field. So,
and he's going to give up another spot even to Robert Thompson in that 32 fuzzy taco. If it looks like a taco and smells like a fish, it must be a tasty dish ride.
Yeah, Glenn might be dropping back because he didn't take tires. He didn't hit the pit, so.
And Glenn's one of those guys that, you know, he's going to be polite at the beginning of the race. He's going to give you room to race. He's going to let you go by. Oh, as he gets up on the grass a little bit, he stays out of the wall, but he's going to cough up the rest of them positions he gained. And as Wayne Willard gets by him in the 01, now Gary Moore in the 53. Oh, Glenn's going to take that Rick Haney-Calls ride clear to the back of the field.
yeah, I have a feeling Glenn Nettessol's playing the survival game. He's wanting to get back out there, give him enough time to really react to some of these cautions. So,
our top 5 right now, we've got Stephen Moore in the 02, is in first, followed by Andy Lashinsky. And behind Andy is Chris Perry, and then Taylor Dorner in the 98, and then Brian Holman's brought himself into the top 5, followed by Ron Miller.
Yeah, you got Ron Token Miller sitting in 6th place in the number 60 Gallup Valley Chevrolet there, and then you got the number 32 Robert Fuzzy Taco Thompson, and then in 8th place you got the number 41 of Robert Lee. And you got the number 9 car of Bobby Cannon, number 29. And then 10th place, you have the number 8 car of Ed Mahalsik.
And rounding out the last of the leaders, we got the number 12 of Josh Weaver. In 12th, we got the number 53 of Gary Moore. The 13th position is number 47 of Bob Roberts. 14th is the number 92 of Glenn Nettesol. And rounding out in the 15th place is the 01 of Wayne Willard.
Yeah, Wayne Willard's being shown as 1 lap down, so right now he's the caution comes out. He'll be able to get the wave by, get the lucky dog. So
got Stephen Moore up there still holding on to that lead. He's got just over a half a second lead on second place Andy Lashinsky. As we got a good battle going on there between the 12 of Josh Weaver and the 53 of Gary Moore for the 12th spot. Looks like Gary Moore got under him once, but Josh held him off, so Gary's going to back off and charge in under them corners. They really pull in tight going into the corners. You got to be careful there.
Yeah, Josh looks like he's able to get a little bit better bite coming off the corner than Gary. With these fixed setups, everybody's running the same exact thing, and it's all about the finesse on how these drivers get in and off these corners, especially with these short tracks. I mean, your braking point's got to be just right. So, I mean, looks like Josh is being able to get a little bit better handle on this setup than Gary is. So, we'll see what happens on the long runs when these tires start giving up and they start losing some of that fuel load.
We look a little farther towards the front of the field. We've got Brian Holman pulling up on the back of the 98 of Taylor Dorner. He's trying to take that 4th spot away from him. And Brian's a strong running guy in that Bob's Motorsports number 62. We'll see if he can break his way into the top 4 positions here.
Yeah, you got Wayne Willard in the 0-1 and Ed Mahalsik. Oh, they get a little slap, a little bit of quarter panels there.
Brian Holman clears him. He takes that 4th spot. That's going to open the door for Ron Miller to get under him and take the 5th spot away now. So Ron Miller pulls into the top 5. So our top 5 guys are starting to shake out from what we saw in the qualifying order anyhow. They're right back into them positions.
Robert Thompson is got his sights set on Taylor Dorner, looking to possibly make that move around Taylor. So we'll see what happens.
Well, these are the guys that went in and pitted for tires, and you're starting to see these new tires must mean something because they're able to pull up on these guys and get around them.
As Robert Thompson looks low, Taylor keeps it high. Looks like he just went ahead and gave up the spot with no hard effort. Oh, he looks at the inside going down the front stretch, but they still give it up. As you start to see the back of these cars starting to wiggle a little bit as they go through the corners.
I notice Brian Holman's crept up to the rear bumper of Chris Perry in that 42. He's looking low on him. He's looking to take another spot away, so he's climbing up the charts here. But can he catch old Andy Lashinsky and Stephen Moore? They seem to have checked out on the field pretty much, but he gets that spot and opens the door for Ron Miller to get underneath there as well.
Yeah, Ron's been trying to follow in the tire tracks of Brian Holman, but he's got the Chris Perry ride right there in front of him, holding him up. So we'll see what Ron's got for Chris.
Right now, they're about 5 seconds back of the leaders.
Yeah, it's going to take some work to get those guys pulled back up there. It looks like we've got Glenn Nettishall and Wayne Willard are scored a lap down. Hopefully those guys can get a caution, catch a break before they go too many laps down. But these guys behind them are charging pretty fast.
Yeah, so we're seeing some good battles throughout the field here. I mean, they've settled down and they've gotten pretty good. Yeah, Chris Perry gets a little loose coming off of turn 4 there.
And lets Ron Miller pull up right behind him.
Yep, he's going to give up that spot to Ron. I think he's thinking at this point, Ron's been looking for a good finish, and if I keep him here too much longer, he just might move me out of the way in that number 60 Down Valley car out of Denver, Colorado. And Robert Thompson, he's looking to take that spot as well and put himself up inside the top 5.
He's having himself a good run tonight. He must really love this setup here at Martinsville. I mean, he's getting himself a good shot tonight, that's for sure.
Well, he's running 6th place right now, and he's staying steady. He's staying with the leaders.
And that's a good view from Robert Thompson's passenger seat as we ride along with him tonight. You'll see how he gets right up on his back bumper on that corner, so he's riding them brakes pretty good and anticipating where the guy in front of him is braking. That's how you win these races at Martinsville.
Yeah, you see, he's trying to get that run coming up off the corners. Not quite able to do it, so but he's working that wheel. Look at that. I mean, he's really getting into it.
Oh, and as he makes his move, he gets underneath the 42. He's going to clear him. Going to put himself up into the top 5 spots. So our top 5 going into lap 39 is Stephen Moore, followed by a half a second behind by Andy Lashinsky. And in third place, 5.6 seconds behind him, is Brian Holman, followed by Ron Miller and Robert Thompson in the 32. That'll be our top 6.
Yeah, these guys, the leaders tonight are pulling away about a little bit every lap. So Stephen Moore and Andy Lashinsky are really showing the way around this track.
Right now they have 4 cars a lap down, and Bob Roberts, Ed Mahalsick, Glenn Nettershill, and Wayne Willard. And hopefully, I guess they're hoping that a caution will come out soon, so at least one of them can get in the lucky dog position.
Yeah, Stephen Moore's got his sights on the next lap down car, and that's the back bumper, the number 53 of Gary Moore. Hopefully they get a caution before he goes a lap down.
I'm surprised to see these two just pulling up like this and putting these cars a lap down. Like I said, this is a fixed setup these guys run, so everybody's got the exact same thing. A lot of what we're seeing now is a result of tire strategy, which seems to be paying off for these guys. Top 2 cars are matching speed. Andy Lashinsky's not reeling them in. Maybe he's not trying to either. I guess as long as they're both going the same direction and they're putting cars between themselves and Brian Holman and Ron Miller and Robert Thompson, I think maybe they'll just run that way.
Yeah. Not only that, but I think Brian gave up a little bit of tire wear trying to fight his way through the field. So I think Brian's probably just going to sit back and turn some laps and see how this race turns out. And hopefully he can get a caution and get caught up with the rest of the field. But
well, these guys might run into a little more difficulty and quit chopping so much time off once they get up behind some of these lap cars, because I don't think they're all just going to move over and get out of the way for them.
Yeah, we have a 3-way battle for 5th right now. You got Robert Thompson in 5th place with Chris Perry 6th and Taylor Dorn 7. As you see them, they're nose to tail going down the front stretch, and I mean these guys are wanting that 5th spot back.
Yeah, you can't say you blame them.
They're fighting every lap.
Oh yeah, it's Chris Perry gets a little loose coming out of turn 4 there, and he falls back a little bit. So evidently Chris Perry's tires, he really used them up there in the early going.
What do you think of these Big Dogs guys so far, Steve? By the way, welcome you to the broadcast booth. Good to have you.
I appreciate it, Rob. Thank you. And they're fighting it out, and it's good to see that everybody's still running. Stephen Moore is just running a fantastic race as he now is about to pass Gary Moore, it looks like, and put him a lap down.
Yeah, no relation, if anybody's wondering.
I'm not related. That's right. I'm not related to Gary Moore, and one of the main reasons you can tell is because I'd be way out in front of him on the racetrack.
Well, at least you were at Watkins Glen. I mean, you had a really good race last week at Watkins Glen, so. But
yeah, I kind of messed that up myself. But we got a big ball of cars up in the front here. Stephen Moore was able to clear these lap down cars, but Andy Lashinsky, he's having a little more difficulty as some of them move over, and Josh Weaver, he might not get out of the way so quick. He's up there fighting. He don't want to go a lap down this early.
Oh, Josh gets a little loose going into 1. He got it pretty hot going up in there. Got the rear end to slide a little bit. Andy Lashinsky dives it down low and takes the spot away from him.
It looks like that cost Stephen Moore. He got a good jump. Now Andy Lashinsky's 8/10 of a second behind him, but that let Brian Holman pull up within 5.5 seconds of these guys.
Yeah.
But now traffic is going to make a big difference right now.
Yeah, Stephen Moore pulls up on the back of Wayne Willard. I wouldn't think that Wayne Willard would move over so quick as we look back in the field a little bit. Taylor Dorner makes it around Robert Thompson and takes that 5th spot from him.
And Wayne Willard is fighting door to door with Stephen Moore. He's not going to give it up too easy, but it looks like he goes wide and lets Stephen Moore have it.
And Andy Lashinsky. He lets them both go by and then falls back in line behind him.
He tried to hold him up a little bit. Brian Holman on that last lap was able to make up 2/10 of a second on the leaders, so that held him up a little bit.
I tell you what, these leaders are laying down some blistering laps in these things. I mean, they are really sailing around this track. It's like Andy Lashinsky. He can pull up to Stephen Moore going into the corners, but on exit, Stephen Moore's just taking off.
It's all about hitting your marks here at Martinsville. As long as you can be smooth and consistent and just keep that rhythm, hitting your marks and entering all 4 of these corners, you'll come out to be pretty good.
Yeah, these guys there's only 9 cars left on the lead lap. They've got 4 cars a lap down, and 2 cars 2 laps down already. So you got to wonder, I mean, are these guys going to be able to get those laps back? It doesn't look like there's going to be a whole lot of cautions here at lap 57 of this race.
Yeah, these guys have settled down pretty good, and they've gotten into a rhythm, and they're just trying to click off some laps of this race here.
I'm looking back in the field a little bit at the 5th spot, and it looks like old Robert Thompson, he's not just going to go away. He's still on the back of Taylor Dorner and trying to keep him there in his sight, so if he messes up just a little bit, he can have that 5th spot back. But Taylor's so far running a good solid line. It looks like he's running a little higher down the straightaways and driving it in just a little bit deeper than Robert Thompson, which may be costing him that time.
So, Steve, on tonight's race, who do you look to have themselves a really strong finish tonight?
Well, the way the top 2 are running, I'll be honest with you, I think Brian Holman, he's conserving his tires and his strategy, and he's waiting to pounce in the last few laps of the race.
Yeah, Brian Holman, he's been doing pretty good. I mean, he's our points leader over the
29 of Bobby Cannon.
Yeah, 29 of Bobby Cannon. He's 25 points ahead of Bobby Cannon in the points championship. And Josh Weaver is sitting 3rd, 35 points out. So it's going to come down to the wire, I think, for this points championship. That's for sure.
Brian Holman wheels that thing in and out of the corners. He's laying down good laps. He's not losing much time to these guys. But Stephen Moore is up to almost a 1.5-second lead on 2nd place. So Superman Stephen Moore, he's laying them down right now. He's burning some rubber off them tires, and he ain't afraid to pound his chest and start passing cars.
He's easily showing the way through this field tonight.
As he pulls up on the back of Ed Mahalsick to put Ed 2 laps down.
Right now, there's only 8 cars on the lead lap, with Bobby Cannon being the last car on the lead lap.
And he's 17 seconds behind the leader, so he's got his work cut out for him if he's going to get up there and make some noise. As we take a look at our standings after 65 laps, we've got the 02 of Stephen Moore in the 1st position, the 78 of Andy Lashinsky in the 2nd position, the 62 of Brian Holman in the 3rd position. That number 60 car, Ron Miller from Down Valley Septic out of Denver, Colorado, he's pulled up into the 4th position. He's holding that nice and steady. Followed in the 5th position by the number 98 of Taylor Dorner.
And 6th position, we got the number 32 of Robert Thompson. 7th position, we got the number 42 of Chris Perry. And the number 8 position of number 29 of Bobby Cannon, the last car on the lead lap. And we got the number 9 of 9th position, number 12 of Josh Weaver. And finishing out our top 10, we got the number 41 of Robert Lee.
And continuing with a car lap down, in the 11th position, number 53 of Gary Moore. The number 47 of Bob Roberts is in 12th. The number 8 of Eddie Mahalsik is in 13th. And he's 2 laps down. Glenn Nettershall, number 92, in 14th position, 3 laps down. And in last, right now, the 01 of Wayne Willard in the 15th position, 5 laps down.
Looks like Andy Lashinsky comes out of that 2nd spot, and he's going to pit and take 4 tires, and it's going to take him a while to put gas in this buggy. So you got to think, though, you know, pit stops have got to be coming up. I know this is his first, I believe, first or second pit stop. So, you know, 68 laps in, he takes his first pit stop. So you know how much. Oh, and he's going back in the pits, so he must have got a penalty. That's going to really cost him a good run tonight.
Yeah, that is. He must have got a speeding penalty on pit road there, so it's going to really come down to him being clean for the rest of this race, that's for sure, as he's now scored 3 laps down.
Well, Stephen Moore should be coming into the pit soon. He was the only other car that did not come in during the previous 2 pit stops.
Yeah, so you'd think he's got to be running on fumes about now, and Brian Holman's going to got to be back there licking his chops. We know Brian pitted on that last caution.
Yeah, the 02, the 98, the 42, the 41 still have yet to have pit.
Get back up on the leader, Stephen Moore. The 42's stopping right now. He's going to take 4 tires and fuel. And the thing with these cars is it takes a long time to put fuel in these. I don't know if they do it with a McDonald's straw or gallon milk jugs or something, but it takes them forever to fill these up as we watch the 98 of Taylor Dorner coming in.
Yeah, it takes a long time to fuel these things up. And I was just wondering if Andy Lashinsky got possibly like a half a tank of fuel and came out of the pits and then turned around and went back into the pits to get the rest of his fuel.
And our leader pulls off. The leader pulls off. Stephen Moore is going to go down pit road. I think Andy Lashinsky sped through the pits because he stopped again, and he must not have turned his fuel off in time. So they were probably adding more. You know, it takes quite a. They've only got a capability of 7.8 gallons, so I don't know. That's going to move Brian Holman into the 1st position in that 62 car. So now we're starting to see his strategy play out a little bit as Stephen Moore stops on pit road. That's going to shake this field up quite a bit. We got several guys that haven't pitted yet. Brian Holman in the 62, the number 60 of Ron Miller, Robert Thompson in the 32. They're going to start putting cars a lap down. So if they get a caution, or one caution would come out right now, boy, would that cause some chaos, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, right now, I do believe Brian Holman can only go about another 10 to 12 more laps before he's going to have to pit for fuel.
Yeah, because we see Robert Thompson pulling off in that 32 car. He's headed down pit road. He'll take 4 tires of gas. And Brian Holman, he's also pitting.
Bobby Cannon's just coming out of the pits now after 4 tire stop.
We'll have to see how this shakes out after these guys get done. I see Ed Mahalsik headed down pit road in that 8 car. You know, he's already 4 laps down. That's not going to help his cause any.
Yeah, green flag pit stops underway. We got Bobby Cannon pulling out of the pits. So these guys should be quite interesting to see if they take 4 tires and fuel or 2 tires and fuel, depending on how bad these tires are giving up here.
We got Ron Miller and Glenn Nettisel also hit pit road, 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, that Ron Smoking Token Miller, he's having himself a really good run tonight in the top, running in the top 5 tonight. He should be happy with what's coming out of him tonight.
Bob Roberts takes her down pit road, so that's just about everybody I would think has been down pit road.
Yeah, right now the top 3 have yet to pit. You got Josh Weaver, Gary Moore, and Bob Roberts are still on the lead lap. They're still need to pit.
This thing kind of tosses the field around a little bit. Oh, and the caution flies. The caution flies, trapping everybody from 4th position on back a lap down.
Just as Josh Weaver was entering the pits, the yellow came out.
Well, hopefully he won't stop in it. He's got enough fuel to make it all the way around, and he won't stop in his pit.
And right now, the man that's going to be getting the lucky dog, it looks like, is the number 02 of the Stephen Moore.
Yep, the 02 of Stephen Moore is going to be the lucky dog. That's going to only put 3 cars on the lead lap. The 12 of Josh Weaver, the 53 of Gary Moore, and the 02 of Stephen Moore, and the rest of the field's 1 lap down or more. Correction, Taylor Dorner may have not got trapped a lap down in that chaos in the 98 car. We'll find out as this thing shakes out. As we go to a word from our sponsor, how about we hear from Bob's Motorsports and the guys over there at www.bullseye.9f.com. Well, as we come back, we got 6 cars on the lead lap. Somehow 6 cars survived that pit stop strategy. That's going to put the 42, the 53. Well, no, the 42's he's 2 laps down. He's not going to pit, so he's going to get the wave by. It's going to put. Well, several of them are going to get an opportunity to drive past the pace car here with 1 to go. Looks like Brian Holman's going to take off. Kind of hard to keep up with on this little track with everybody still pitting and zipping around the pace car, and we'll have to see how this shakes out. But it looks like Andy Lashinsky's still 2 laps down. That speeding on pit road really killed Andy. That might have ruined his night, as we are 83 laps into this 125 lap run. We're getting more cars waved by the pace car now, so it's going to put a few guys back on the lead lap, but they've got a battle on their hands.
Yeah, that caution flag came out at the wrong time tonight. Some of these guys were saying thank you for the caution. Some guys weren't. As pace car hits pit road.
Pace car pulls off. Gary Moore will be taking the green flag, followed by Bob Roberts in the 47. Gary Moore's all alone out there, and he gets a huge jump. As you see Andy Lashinsky come charging up in there, but hopefully he doesn't kill anybody on his way. Ed Mahalsik's slow on the side of the road there. Gary Moore, can he hold off these guys behind him? This is shaking out to be, and it's go time right now. I mean, they're coming up on lap 90. They're going to have 35 laps left in this race. Everybody can make it on fuel, so it's pretty much a drag race from this point on. And some of these guys are going to have to hope for cautions, and let's hope they don't cause them. The lucky dog won't be waved by if he causes a caution. Hopefully Gary Moore will just get out of the way of Andy Lashinsky and before Andy runs him over. Andy's kind of desperate at this point.
Yeah, Gary right now has got a 8.5 second lead over second place of Stephen Moore. So he's sitting pretty comfortable right now.
And Stephen Moore, he can make up 8.5 seconds in 35 laps. We've seen him do some Superman-ish type stuff tonight, and he pulled out to a pretty good lead there with Andy Lashinsky. As Gary Moore gets into that curb a little bit, and he's gonna let Andy Lashinsky by for one of them laps back.
And Andy Lashinsky's wanting to get his laps back the hard way. So, but yeah. Last week at Watkins Glen, we saw Stephen Moore pull some Superman moves out at the last minute at that race last week. I mean, he came from a 21-second deficit.
So we got Brian Holman sneaking up there, too. He's also scored a lap down. He's the first car a lap down, actually. So we've only got 4 cars on the lead lap after that chaotic caution that came out in the middle of the pit cycle. So, Stephen Moore, he's already chopped that second place down to 6.7 seconds, but he's got to get around some pretty fast cars with the same goals in mind that he has. They want to get by Gary Moore too, and if I was Gary Moore, I got to tell you, I think I'd have the widest car in iRacing for the rest of this race.
Yeah, you got Wayne Willard right behind him, so we'll see what if Wayne can actually get by him clean here. And he's making it wide. We got the yellow flag out.
The yellow is out. Not exactly sure who brought out that caution. Maybe the 29 of Bobby Cannon. That's going to make Brian Holman the lucky dog. And it's going to be interesting, we saw what 10 laps will do for tires here.
Yeah, tires are going to play a real big part in this race. So.
Well, now they have 30 laps to go, so I wonder if anybody is going to pit on this.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I think I might, because that might be your best chance to gain some ground on Stephen Moore and his power play tonight. I mean, he's really laying down some laps, and I think tires may be the only way to really beat the guy if he chooses not to pit.
Yeah, I have a feeling as we just got done watching Brian Holman get the wave around the pace car, get himself back on the lead lap. Gary Moore takes it down pit road. He's going for some time. Oh, no, he don't.
He stayed out.
Yeah, he stayed out. But yeah, I have a feeling Brian Holman's going to go away for some tires here.
I think I would. He'll be the first car, or the last car back on the lead lap, and he'll have, 12 lap newer tires than everybody else. That's going to be his best chance. He's got fresh tires, but we got Stephen Moore back there, and with these restarts, it's going to move the lap down cars back. Since Gary Moore didn't pit, it's not going to wave anybody by him, for staying out. So it's going to pull Gary Moore or Stephen Moore right up on his outside door. If I was Gary Moore, I tell you right now, I wouldn't care what the guy's last name is. I would definitely remind him we're not related, and I'd jump that start and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Got a lot of Moores on the track, but can you really blame them? I mean, it is a really cool last name if you think about it.
Oh boy, let me go get my hip waders. It's getting thick up here in the broadcast booth.
There were 4 cars that did take the pit stop. Also, one was Brian Holman, Chris Perry was another, and Bob Roberts.
You know, the way Stephen Moore was clicking time off on Gary, I think Gary should have gotten 4 tires. But, you know, it's his call. He knows what he's got underneath the hood, and he knows how it's handling on the track. I just don't like the odds of having that guy in the 02 car starting out next to me with the same tires I do, knowing that all night long he's been driving away from the field.
Either that or Gary Holman's looking at the points.
Gary Holman?
I mean, yeah, Gary Holman.
Brian Holman, Zercut, Hogan?
Yeah, exactly. Gary Moore's looking at the points.
Pace car's off. Gary Moore gets a good jump on Stephen. Can he hang on to it? Yeah, he gets into turn 1 low. Steve Moore's got to go up high. That's going to take some momentum. But, you know, Gary's got to hope some of these guys can get underneath Steve and give him some trouble and hold him up a little bit. Wow, Steve Moore just powered by him on the high side going into the corner.
He gets a good braking in there. Oh, Ron Miller's making it 3 wide going down the front stretch. Ooh, that was close.
Gary Moore's going to give up the 2nd spot to Brian Holman. Oh, we have the 47 of Bob Roberts hits the wall pretty hard. Ron Miller. Oh, he hits the water barrier. That's going to bring out a caution. I'm wondering if the admins are going to throw the caution. You know Ron Miller's screaming for it right about now. Oh, he disconnected. Yeah. He's out. He drove it on the trailer. We got a good battle for the lead going on between Brian Holman and Stephen Moore. Brian Holman's got up to his back bumper with them fresh tires, and I tell you what, I don't know. I don't think I'd want Brian Holman on my back bumper in a brand new paint job in a track that he built the setup for and fresher tires. I just don't think I like that.
Yeah, as he gets a nice jump coming off of 4, man, he got that thing to really stick.
Oh yeah, Brian Holman's going to pull the pass off. And he's going to get in front of Stephen Moore, and he may wave goodbye. I don't know what he's waving in the rearview mirror, but I see more than one finger, so I think it was either a thank you for letting him go or just waving goodbye. I don't know.
Well, you know Stephen Moore is not going to give up that easily, and he's going to ride his bumper.
Yeah, Holman's not able to pull away like Stephen Moore was able to pull away from Andy Lashinsky earlier. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Holman's got 13 lap fresher tires than Moore does. So
I'm surprised Ron Miller didn't ask for a caution right there and save himself. You know, I think he had something for these guys.
Yeah, he did. That's for sure.
You know, the logical thinking in that thin air of Denver, Colorado. But, you know, Ron, he's a fighter. He'll be back next week, and he'll be right back up in that front crew.
Oh, Bobby Cannon tries sneaking the nose, and he does. Gets it up underneath Taylor Dorner, and we got a battle for 3rd place going on.
I think Bobby Cannon's still a lap down, though, so he's just trying to get up there and hope for the next lucky dog.
Yeah, looks like it.
There are only 4 cars on the lead lap. Bobby is placed in 5th.
Okay, so we've got Brian Holman in the 62, 109 laps into this thing, scored in 1st. Behind him, and believe me, right behind him is Stephen Moore in the 02, followed by the 98 of Taylor Dorner in 3rd, and the 53 of Gary Moore, who was our leader but chose not to take tires, or I think he might be up here in this mix, scored in 4th.
And 5th, first car lap down, is number 29 of Bobby Cannon as he makes his way around the number 98 of Taylor Dorner. And the number 78 is Andy Lashinsky. So you got Bobby Cannon, Andy Lashinsky. Ooh, Taylor Dorner goes around in the middle of turn 1 and 2. Looks like there was a little bit of contact between him and Andy Lashinsky.
Yeah, Andy Lashinsky seemed to have brought that one out. Got into the back of him just a little bit. As we take a look at the replay.
It does bring out the yellow, which means that Gary, if he chooses, he can get some tires and contend for that win. And in the replay, Taylor Dorner taking it wide going through the corner, and he just seems to get loose a little bit.
I think he got a little bit of help from the 78 car there. Not intentional, but you know, they're all racing for that lucky dog position right there. So.
Yeah, definitely could have, but he did keep it off the wall, so he didn't hit the wall. It stays out, and it looks like the leaders have come into pit.
All the Ford front cars are going to pit. Now, if these other guys stay out, it's going to put them back on the lead lap, but they're going to have old tires. We're going to have about 9 laps to go when we take the green. Brian Holman looks like he just takes 2 tires and a splash. So he's going to get out first.
Gary Moore comes out third.
Yeah, Stephen Moore, he takes 4 tires, so it ought to be interesting.
Brian Holman must have had a black flag for something. I just noticed the admin cleared it. I didn't know they did that, but then again, you know, who knows what it was for, and iRacing itself has given black flags in the past. It looks like Brian's going to slow down and let these guys by, so he may be going to the back of the field. So although they cleared his black flag penalty, they're still going to... Oh, he got a black flag for passing under the yellow as the leader. So, okay, that's why it was cleared. It's kind of hard to pass somebody under yellow when you're scored the leader.
Yeah, iRacing is a pretty good format, but it's not totally foolproof. So.
And nothing ever is. I mean, you know, it is racing, and you know, it is a game. We all race it knowing that. As we see a few cars, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cars get waved by the pace car for not pitting. 5 make that Ed Mahalstik's also going to go around. That means the lights are off on the pace car. 6, 7 cars going to go by him. That's going to move Gary Moore back up into the lead spot, but on his outside door is Superman Stephen Moore, and they take the green.
Hey, Gary Moore gets a good jump on that green flag. They pile it into turn 1. Brian Holman's on the move coming up through the field. He wants that lead back, that's for sure.
Gary Moore hold him off. He's got just a few laps to do it. So, well, and I noticed Brian Holman's moving up on the back bumper of Stephen Moore, and if he can get there before Stephen gets a good run on Gary, he might be able to. But Stephen's going to take that high side again and try to get a run. Gary Moore's hanging on to that bottom low.
Yeah, Stephen Moore's trying to get that pass on the high side. He's trying to really work it. Ooh, Gary gets a little loose in the middle of 3 and 4, and Brian Holman had to check up. And as he shoots it to the inside in turn 1.
And Brian Holman is trying to take advantage of it too, and he goes right around Gary Moore with Taylor Dorner right behind him.
Yeah, Taylor Dorner's going to take that spot away too. Oh, Taylor gets into the side of Gary Moore, and the caution is out.
It sends Gary right into the fence.
We're at lap 120, so I don't know if this is actually going to finish the race or not.
I think this is going to be a drag race finish. Actually, they may have 1 or 2 laps to race for. So it's going to be interesting. We got Andy Lashinsky down there saying good win to somebody, but I don't know if he's quite won it yet. They might get an opportunity to go green.
Yeah, with iRacing here, they haven't been able to get the green-white checkered, make sure everybody finishes under green. So we go to the exact lap, and if they finish under caution, they finish under caution.
Well, this has been a heck of a final 25 laps for these guys, man. You know they're down there just sweating. Their steering wheels are just coated and wet and slippery. And Brian Holman, you know, he's back there hoping he gets another shot at Steve Moore, and he just might. I mean, he's letting him know he's there.
Yeah.
As we're under caution, I'm looking at Brian Holman. I'd like to give another shout out to the guys over at Bob's Motorsports. You guys kick some butt. Thanks for being our sponsor for this entire series. Thanks again to Jason Holman, or JasonHoganDesigns.com. We'd like to thank you guys for also being our sponsors. Another shout out to Phil Diaz from Glacier TV. He's our cameraman on the spot tonight. He's kicking some serious butt as usual as we come around to lap 123. So unless they get the one to go next time by, it could be over. But I think they're going to get it. We'll see if the lights go off on the pace car. The lights are off. They're going to go green. They're going to have a drag race. Nope, the lights are still on. I guess I didn't see them right from the back of the pace car.
No, it is possible that they'll get the one to go next time by. Doesn't look like anybody.
They're going to have a one-lap drag race. Somebody's going to put their car in a junkyard, and somebody's going to go home angry after this finish. But we'll find out, and it ought to be interesting to watch. Anyways, you know, as we got 8 cars left on the lead lap. The final car would be Robert Lee in the 41, last year's championship winner. And the lights are off on the pace car. They are going to get one lap.
Yeah, and if people want to see drama, we're going to have drama on the final lap. They're going to take the green and the white flag at the same time. So after they see the green flag, the next flag they're going to see is a checkered.
Take the dog chains off, big dogs. Here you go.
Stephen Moore, Brian Holman, Taylor Dorner, Bobby Cannon. Any one of these 4 can win this race right now.
Ooh, and Stephen Moore gets a good jump. It looks like they both checked up a little bit and bunched up the field. Is Brian Holman going to get... No, he doesn't get enough run. Stephen Moore might be able to hold him off this last lap.
Taylor Dorner's right there making his presence known right behind Brian Holman. But, man, looks like Stephen Moore takes it to the checkered flag with Brian Holman, Taylor Dorner, Andy Lashinsky, and Bobby Cannon in the top 5.
A heck of a run tonight. Followed by in 6th spot by the number 12 of Josh Weaver, the 7th, the number 53 of Gary Moore, 8th, the number 41 of Robert Lee, 9th is Chris Perry in the 42, 10th would be Bob Roberts in the 47. Steve, you want to take it from there?
And 11th, Eddie Mahalsick in the number 8. 12th would be the number 32 of Robert Fuzzy Thompson. 13th would be the number 92 of Glenn Netishell. 14th position would go to the 01 of Wayne Willard. And finishing the race tonight would be the number 60 of Ron Miller.
Bad luck for Ron tonight as we let these guys get their cars parked, and we'll bring down our race winner. How about we bring down 1st through 4th and tonight's admin, Gary Moore, and get a little recap of how their races went.
It started out a little rough tonight with these guys, but they finished it with a good, clean, hard-fought battle to the end, that's for sure.
Well, at one point in time, we actually had only 4 cars on the lead lap, and Stephen Moore and Andy Lashinsky pulling away from the rest of the pack, just passing cars left and right.
Looks like Andy Lashinsky can't find the winner's circle.
Well, that's because he's not in it. Stephen Moore's going to the winner's circle. As we bring down our race winner, Stephen Moore. I messed that up too. Stephen Moore, tonight's race winner. Good run tonight, buddy. How'd the race go for you? We saw you blasting around cars all night long, and you kind of got caught up with a bad luck caution there. About 25 to go, and you worked your way back up into the lead and brought it home.
Yeah, that was a heck of a run. That setup really didn't suit my driving style, so getting in the corner, it would just slide way out, and then it was pushing off. So from the start of the race, I really didn't know what I had, but I just tried to keep it around the curb, and it worked for the first 75 laps until we had to make a pit stop, and then got caught there, and I was running with Andy, and I was pretty sure he had something for me, but he got caught speeding there, so that was unfortunate. But then that caution came out, and Brian was able to get around, and I didn't think I had anything for him, but got a penalty on pit road there, and that put me in the lead. And then we had that one lap shootout, and I was just able to hold the bottom and get the win.
Well, I tell you what, man, for a setup not suiting your driving style, you sure drove the heck out of it. Good race tonight, good win. Look forward to seeing you next week. We have off from Glacier TV, so we're going to be playing around with some different tracks and building some setups, but look forward to getting you back out there.
Oh, thank you. It's real fun running in this series. I would like to say thanks to Force Motorsports and InsideSimRacing.tv. I wouldn't really be anywhere without them, and thank you for Big Dogs Racing for hosting and running such an awesome event.
Well, thanks for coming in tonight as we bring down our second place finisher, Brian Holman.
Hey, Brian Holman, Mark up in the booth. Hey, congratulations on that second place finish. You really fought back from the back of the field back there tonight. It kind of sucks getting that speeding penalty on pit road there at the last pit stop. How did you think of the race?
Well, it wasn't a speeding penalty. It said that I passed under the yellow, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a pretty good race all in all. You know, I'd like to thank Bob's Motorsports and BB&T, Brian Holman Designs for, you know, Big Dogs, everybody for such a great race. Yeah, we really fought back from that and raced hard. It was a really good race, I thought, but just come up a little bit short.
Yeah, that's a really good paint job you got on tonight's race.
Yeah, I painted up a different look for tonight. You know, Bob's Motorsports, they do so much for us here at Big Dogs, so least I could do is, you know, put their name on the car and try to give them a good showing. You know, I hope everybody at Bob's Motorsports is watching and hope I was proud of that run we put in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was proud of seeing his paint scheme up at the front of the pack tonight. So, coming in third place, you got Taylor Dorner. I'll go ahead and bring him into the broadcast booth and.
Taylor, it's Steve up in the booth. That last restart, the top four, I think anybody could have had that race. What did you think of that last restart, and was there anything that you could have done differently, possibly to move you up into second or to finish out and win the race?
Man, I don't know. I knew the top two were faster than me, so I was pretty content on holding Bobby off for third. So I had to get it almost stopped in the corner, so I knew I didn't have anything for Brian. Or any of the top two really, so I was pretty content. Maybe if they would have wrecked each other, that'd have been cool. Maybe I could have got it in, but I appreciate those guys letting me run with them, and it was fun. So.
Yeah. How do you like running in this series, and what do you think of the races that we've got in this series? That seems we've got a good mix, and some drivers who've been around for a while and some new drivers. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I'm new, so I've never actually seen, as far as iRacing goes, there's so much give and take in this series, and they race hard, but, you know, everybody gives some and takes some, and that's what makes it fun. So, like I said, I just appreciate them letting me join in and race with them, and I'm ecstatic to get a third place. That's my best ever running with these guys. So.
Well, congratulations on that, and we'll throw it back to Rob.
As we bring in Andy Lashinsky, our fourth place finisher tonight. I just wanted to give you top three a good nod, man. You guys really make Big Dogs Racing look like a heck of an organization, and we look forward to having you guys throughout the season. Brian Holman, way to hang on to your points lead tonight. It looks like you got a good challenge on your hands with these guys finishing behind you. As we bring in Andy Lashinsky, our fourth place finisher tonight. Andy, you had a strong car, and you had to bring that thing back from 2 laps down and what looked like a speeding penalty in the pits to bringing it back on the lead lap and finishing in 4th place, man. Good run tonight. Anything you'd like to talk about for your race?
Well, first off, thank you to Big Dogs, Glacier, and everyone else for these series. For this series, this was a lot of fun. And yeah, I screwed myself there. I wasn't quite sure where pit road speed, where the speed limit ended, so I got a speeding penalty, and that cost me, probably upwards of 40 seconds. But I was able to get back, which was good, and top 4 isn't bad at all.
No, actually, a top 4 finish is pretty darn good, man. Good job. Way to bring it back from way back. And matter of fact, we're going to bring in tonight's 5th place finisher, Bobby Cannon. We got a little time to kill, so we're going to bring Bobby Cannon and Gary Moore down in the booth and hear from them and see how their race went for them. Bobby Cannon, Gary Moore, we brought you both down in the booth. Bobby, we'll talk to you first. Good 5th place finish tonight. Care to tell us a little about your race?
It was interesting. I'll leave it at that. I mean, it was fun. Thought I could possibly score a 3rd. I thought I was going to be able to outrun Tyler there at the end, or Taylor, but it just didn't happen. And hey, I'm happy to come home 5th. It should be a good points run. So.
Well, good job tonight in that NetScreen Communications number 29 car. We look forward to seeing you. We have, of course, we have next week off, and we're going to do some league-wide testing. And any of you guys that are watching want to get in on that or interested in joining Big Dogs Racing, of course, we don't let you directly into the broadcast series on Tuesday night, but we will let you earn your way in. And if you're interested in that and you're an adult driver, of course, we do have an age limit rule. I believe it's 19 years old if you're over 19 and you think you've got what it takes to cut the mustard here at Big Dogs. We'll let you take a shot in the yard and come play with the boys. Go to BigDogsRacing.org, get yourself signed up, get yourself into our team speak, and we'll leave the show off tonight with Gary Moore. Gary, you want to give us a race recap from an admin's perspective?
I thought it was a great race. Very few cautions. Everybody raced pretty clean, so it was good in that part.
It looked like a heck of a race out there. You guys really didn't have a lot of cautions. The ones you had were pretty crucial. I mean, there were some pretty scary ones there, trapping some guys lap downs But I got to take my hat off to you, man. You kept everything under control. You got these guys lined up and going, and there was constant action, even in the long runs. It was fun to watch from a spectator perspective, and it was fun to call.
Hey, we have a great group of guys, a great group of drivers, and makes my job easy. And I did once again like to thank Glacier TV and Bob's Motorsports for their support.
Hey, let's not forget about JasonHoganDesigns.com tonight. He was our secondary sponsor or primary sponsor for this race. Jason Hogan, thank you once again. Look forward to having you sponsor more events. As we close out tonight's show, I'd like to give a special thank you to Mark Figueroa, Mark Fig, and Steve Bryan joined me in the broadcast booth, along with Phil Diaz on the cameras. You guys kick some serious butt. Hope everybody tunes in. Watch our schedule, and we'll announce the next race. Good job.